Hurry, the neighbor just shot both of us. Hurry.
Do you need an ambulance?
I've been shot, yes. I think he killed Todd. Hurry.
Is the other person, is he awake?
I can't go out there. He might shoot me again. He's laying up in the front of the house.
He's laying down outside?
Yes, hurry.
Okay. Where are you hit?
My God, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm bleeding. I'm worried about Todd. I think he killed him.
All right, well, I need to worry about you, okay? Find a clean, dry cloth or towel and put pressure on wherever you're bleeding, okay?
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
Help is coming. Where is the person who did this? Did he run? Did he leave?
The street.
Jennifer, listen, I need to know the name of the person that did this.
Neal Zumberge.
Toxic neighbors can create a significant source of stress and discomfort in one's life, turning what should be a sanctuary into a place of tension and conflict. Signs of toxic neighbors may include constant noise disturbances, verbal harassment, property damage, boundary violations, or even threats of violence. Living next to toxic neighbors can take a toll on your mental and emotional well-being, affecting your quality of life and peace of mind. Dealing with such neighbors often requires a delicate balance of assertiveness, boundary setting, and potentially involving authorities or community resources if the situation escalates. Welcome to our channel. In this case, we will observe the feud between two neighbors that lasted several years with tension, arguments, and confrontations. Allegations of harassment, threats, and escalating animosity characterized the relationship between the two families, culminating in the fatal confrontation on that fateful day. New Brighton is a small suburban city in Minnesota, USA. It is located in Ramsey County and is 15 minutes away from the Minneapolis-St. Paul metropolitan region, sometimes known as the Twin Cities. With a population that is diversified, about 22,000 people live in this city, which is around 7.1 square miles in size. In this small city, at 2500 block of Knollwood Drive, an area near a forested area, lived a truck driver named Todd Stevens with his longtime partner Jennifer Cleven and her son from a previous relationship. Todd's alcoholic consumption would prove problematic for his wife and her child. Todd and his family had lived in this locality for 15 years when, in 1997, they welcomed their new neighbor, a family of 5, who would reside across the street. The new neighbors include Neal Curtis Zumberge, who was born on January 20th, 1957. He was married to a woman named Paula, and they lived with their 3 children. They seemed to have gotten along with Todd Stevens and his family throughout the 90s. Neal's son Jacob would often hang out with Jennifer's son Ryan. But Neal was not happy with his son hanging out with Ryan because Todd's heavy drinking would become problematic and a bad influence on his son. In 2002, Neal stopped his son from hanging out with Ryan. Not long after this, Ryan went to live with his biological father in Texas, so now it was just Todd and his girlfriend Jennifer Cleven in the house. It was said that Todd's incessant drinking would affect his relationship with his neighbor. Todd was often seen drinking in his front yard and passing out. He would often argue with his wife, sometimes locking her outside, and in one instance in 2008, she even called the police. When the officers arrived, he threatened to shoot them. But officers were able to overwhelm him with the use of tasers. He was arrested. At one point, Jennifer starts feeding deer using a corn dispenser in her front yard made of PVC pipe. Neal was not a fan of Jennifer's behavior, as it would increase the growth of ticks responsible for Lyme disease. Lyme disease is caused by the bacterium Borrelia. It is transmitted to humans through the bite of infected black-legged ticks. Symptoms include fever, chills, headaches, fatigue, muscle and joint aches, and swollen lymph nodes. Neal contacted the city authorities, but they could not intervene because she did not violate any existing law. In March 2012, Todd and his wife Jennifer would find mutilated dead animals in their front yard. Since no other home in the area is experiencing the same issue, they were able to determine right away that Neal was the one who had done this. Jennifer confronted Neal and Neal threatened to kill her. Todd and Jennifer then installed CCTV cameras, and the problem stopped. On October of the same year, Neal began circulating letters expressing his frustrations about the deer and his concerns about the infection with Lyme disease. In these letters, he addresses Todd as Mr. Corn. He also put up a signboard in front of Neal's front yard with the saying, "Watch the deer eat and defecate." In April 2013, Jennifer got a restraining order from a judge against Neal for his harassing conduct. The dispute between the two families was no stranger to the police. In fact, from 2005 to 2014, the police were called to either or both families about 44 times. On April 29, 2014, Jennifer called the police and told them that Neal's 23-year-old son Jacob had threatened to kill her and burn down their house. The police tell her that if she sees Jacob, she should inform them. On May 5, 2014, Jennifer spotted Jacob at a bar and informed the police. Jacob was arrested. Jacob's brother, who was with him at the time, called their mother, Paula, and informed her about the incident. At 8:30 p.m., when Paula saw Jennifer come home, she walked down her own driveway and yelled at her from across the street. She was angry about her son's arrest. Todd, upon hearing the commotion, soon came out too. Neal was seen at the corner of his house, pointed his loaded shotgun at Todd, and fired 4 times. 3 of the bullets hit Todd, and he collapsed immediately. Jennifer was also struck 1 time, but fortunately she hurried to her house and called 911. She was then taken to a hospital, and she claimed that Paula encouraged Neal to shoot at her and her partner. She said it was pre-planned and that Paula doesn't appear shocked by the gunshot from her husband.
Stepped out, we heard this bam! All of a sudden he just started shooting, and I said, "Run." Todd said, "He's got a gun," and Todd ran to right there. And Todd said, "He shot me." That's the last words he said.
And Paul kept telling Neal, "Shoot, shoot, shoot, shoot." So I think they had it planned out. Todd killed.
Medical officers who reached the spot said that Todd passed away at the scene. Neal went back inside his house and never come out. He watched the crime scene from his window. He was alone in his house as his wife Paula had fled away in her car. Neal called 911 from his home and said that someone had been shot at the house nearby, and when dispatcher asked him who was the shooter, he responds, "I'm not going to say anything." He also said that he won't surrender to the new Brighton police and would only surrender to the Ramsey County Police. He emerged 40 minutes later with the arrival of county officials.
What's your emergency?
Someone shot outside my house.
Okay,
The police,
they need an ambulance?
I'm sure they do. I'm not going to shoot the police. They can go help the guy.
Are you the one that did the shooting?
I'm not going to say anything.
Is there anybody else in the house with you?
No, my wife has nothing to do with it. I told her to get the hell out of the house.
Who's the guy that's outside?
Todd Stevens. Nobody listens to me around here. I told the guys that he's going to shoot us. He's got guns. And I just had enough.
During an interrogation, Neal blamed Todd and Jennifer for what happened on the evening of the 5th of May. He said that the couple attracted deer by feeding them and in turn brings disease to him and his family. He had lost his job due to Lyme disease and that he contracted them from ticks brought by deer. He said that Todd Stevens carries around a handgun which he tucked it in a cell phone pouch on his belt. He said that during their encounter with his wife, he could read lip movement and saw Todd saying he is going to shoot his wife, and therefore sensing danger, he took up his loaded shotgun, climbed down a window at the corner of his house and started firing at them. although the rifle was automatic and continued going off. He said he had no intention of murdering Todd. However, the weapon was eventually discovered by the authorities to be semi-automatic rather than fully automatic. He also said in the interview that he was doing the police a favor because they had been instructed to take action but had never taken it. Neal Zumberge was arrested and charged with attempted murder and first-degree murder. His wife, Paula, was also charged with aiding and abetting murder, but she was subsequently found not guilty. Neal was, however, found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. Surprisingly, during the sentencing, Neal admitted that he was wrong in killing Todd, recounted their happy days, and said that both he and Todd used to share everything together. He said that things should not have escalated to this incident, and that if either party had waved the white flag, things would have ended to normalcy. He also apologized to the Todd family and said, "I want Todd's family to know how deeply sorry I am for the pain I caused them. If I could trade places with Todd, I would. I'm sorry, Todd did not deserve to die." The case serves as a somber reminder of the consequences of unresolved conflicts and the tragic toll that violence can take on individuals, families, and communities. While legal proceedings provided a form of justice, the scars left by the events of that day will undoubtedly endure, underscoring the importance of peaceful conflict resolution and community support in preventing similar tragedies in the future.